This is Kate, and this is the Starseed report for September 2024. The main theme for this month is you getting connected with the larger part of who you are. We are going into eclipse season, and so we have a lunar eclipse happening on September 18th, and then we have the solar eclipse happening in early October. But this month, it is happening in Pisces, and it is a lunar eclipse, and the lunar aspect in your chart is all about your mind and your emotions, and this is going into a place of moksha. And so what happens with an eclipse is that the luminaries are blocked, and so you see the stars, you see things differently, you see things as they really are. I wanted to share a metaphor that I got. I was walking in nature in a very, very remote location, and I got a glimpse from Spirit about who we really are. And this metaphor has helped me understand who I am. So I was walking along this stream with dogs, of course, and I got a very strong impression that the metaphor is that we are like a large body, like we're the body, but the human experience that we're having is like a fingertip being put into a stream. And so the stream is like the life experience, the timeline that you're on, all of the things that are, the day-to-day things that you are experiencing in life, but that the personality of who you are is like the fingertip. But who you really are is the entire body. But the entire body, the larger soul self, made a decision to take that fingertip and to put it into the water to have that experience. And that's who your name, Kate, for me, that is who you are in this reality. But the larger self isn't in this reality. It is the larger self, the higher self, the part of you that is all that is. And the you that you think you are, the you that went to school, the you that has a job and kids and a house and responsibilities and all of that, that's just the fingertip. And that larger part of you decided to put the fingertip into the water at this particular point in time for a reason. Probably saw the historic things that would be happening at this particular point in time and decided to experience that. Not just watch it fly by, but to fully embody and experience that as you. But you, while important and very important to the larger part of you, it isn't all of you. And a lot of times we go throughout our days and we live our lives as if the fingertip is all that we are. But the larger part of who you really are knows so much more, has so much more than you can even perceive. You're just the fingertip. And so the fingertip is kind of the microcosm of the larger entity that you are. It's a very small part, experiencing life and feeding back that experience and those emotions and that knowledge back to the larger part of self. But we get too attached and too stuck in our beliefs and stuck in our experience. And we wake up in the morning and we pick up our phones and we start looking at emails and whatever we do. And it just keeps us locked into the personality of who we are. And we lose sight and lose connection to that larger part of ourselves. And I think this month, it's very important, astrologically speaking and just spiritually speaking. And from where Spirit is talking to me, now is a very important time to get reconnected to that larger part of self, to have a conversation with that larger part of self. Now, one of the things that I've been doing, and it kind of precipitated the meditation that I put out a few weeks back, the money meditation, I've been working on the money part of me. Not necessarily because I'm sensing any problems. Well, the past couple of years have been a little bit stressful in terms of money. I mean, eggs are $10. Can we just talk about the price of eggs? But the problem is my mindset, and I wanted to work on that. So I started working on that through a meditation where I took another aspect of myself, perhaps another finger, whatever, however you want to use the metaphor. And I put that person in front of me and asked questions of that person and said, hey, what do I need to know in order to be more like you? And that part of me said, you already are me. We just need to help her. And then I looked over and there was this little girl and she was all bound up with vines. I thought at first it was maybe barbed wire, but I looked closer and it was vines and they had thorns. And this little girl was like sort of in the fetal position. And so I said, well, help me get her unbound. And so we took all the vines off of her and helped her get up and told her she was loved and told her she was safe and okay. And a few days later, my brother reaches out to me and asks me to help him sort of untangle some stuff with my mom and her financial stuff. And it hit me like a ton of bricks that I was not working on healing the little kid part of me that had issues and was bound up. This was ancestral stuff, which started to make sense because I've had conversations with Ancestral Lineage and saying, okay, I'm changing the family lineage now. And my dad's side of the family is like, go for it. We're cool. And my mom's side of the family, I'm getting mixed voices and getting resistance. And I didn't know what was going on. And my mom bound up like that. Freeing her from a spiritual perspective on a different plane of reality made me realize that right now, it isn't about me, the personality, having money issues. This isn't about me, the personality, at all. This is about the larger entity of self, understanding a connection with a lineage of spiritual beings and clearing out attachments to the fingertip that have been passed down from generations throughout my family. And I stop it now. I heal 7 generations going forward, and I heal 7 generations going back. Well, everybody that wants to take that. And I offer that healing up and that freedom up. And then I started having all of these dreams about my mom as a little kid. And she was coming to me in dreams. And she was sad and just like had this gaunt look about her, like not having enough, not having any nourishment. But it wasn't like nourishment about food. It was nourishment about spirit and nourishment about love and appreciation. And so it helped me to understand some of the like decisions my mother had made over time. But it also helped to clear out a lot of my own stuff where I get to make decisions about what's right for me, what's right for my kids, what's right for me is really what it came down to. Instead of making decisions about, trying to heal my mom, that I offered that love and that healing to her. And I started to see her as becoming more nourished. And I'm working with her on sort of like the astral. There's no working with her here anymore. She's older and there's just no working with her at this point. But I can heal her on the astral. I can help her heal her spirit. I can help clear out those memories. And that's what it's all about, because that larger spiritual self, that larger spirit that you are, is already healed. There are no problems there. What ends up happening is we have this human experience. We put that fingertip into the stream and a leaf comes by and like bumps into us and get attached to the leaf and we get attached. All this stuff gets stuck to us. If you've ever like sort of watched a stream and if there was like a rock in the stream and debris starts just kind of getting attached to it, and then all of a sudden it becomes a dam after a while and it just gets dammed up, and you take that rock out or you take out the debris and just like clear things, and then the water just flows much more freely. But if you're not like doing the process of clearing the debris, then it's going to happen again and again. So our job as human beings having a physical experience is to clear. It is to clear ourselves, because we become too attached to this experience. We get too attached to the decisions that we make. We get too attached to the beliefs that we hold dear, and we get this attachment happening, and it blocks the flow of abundance, of creativity, of inspiration. It blocks our channel to our higher self. All we see then is the debris that we've collected, the beliefs, the negative patterns, the blocks that we have. We block all of that stuff we get attached to, And we think that's what reality is. We look around and well, look at that leaf. That's the way things are. And so when we start reconnecting with our higher self and start doing some of the healing there and really strengthen that connection to the being that we are as a larger being, as a spiritual being, as the entity that we are, then we can see the blocks for what they are and we can very easily clear them. It comes from reconnecting to love, reconnecting to heart, because that's all we are. You know, go back to Course in Miracles. What does it tell us? There are only two things. There is love, and then there is fear. And if people are angry, it goes back to fear. And if people are sad, it goes back to fear. And if people are acting out through narcissism, it goes back to fear. And it is all of these negative beliefs that we are not love. But when you clear all of that, when you clear all of the fear, when you clear all of the things that are not true, you get back to who you really are, and that is love. That is all you are. That is what that higher spirit that you are, that is who you are. And that is what you are as a personality. It's just that all this debris has attached to you. And if you ever saw the movie What Dreams May Come, it just struck me when he goes back to like save her and she's just like in the fetal position, kind of like how my mom was in that meditation that I had done, just like in the fetal position, unable to hear him, the debris there was so thick and so far away from spirit and love and vibrancy that the connection, you just can't get there. It doesn't exist. There's too much blockage in the way. And you can't clear it from there. You can't, as the personality, clear the blockages. The fingertip can't clear the blockages. You have to reconnect to who you really are, to the spiritual self, in order to understand, oh, that's a block. That's a leaf, or that's a stick, or that's a giant log that came down and knocked me off my course. You understand what's really happening, and then you can course correct. You can change. And maybe that you just decide, I'm going to move to a different timeline. I'm going to move to the other side of the creek where debris doesn't come down so easily. But you can do that when you're from a spiritual perspective. You can't do that when you are just so attached to only being that fingertip. This is our job in September. To reconnect to who you really are, because it makes life so much easier, makes everything that's happening in sort of the collective, makes it make sense. You hear truth and you know what's not true. And there's so much to discern right now, isn't there? There's so many people who are trying to convince you that one thing is true and another thing is not, but only one thing is true, and that is you are a spiritual being having a physical experience. Buying into someone else's belief and someone else's motivation to convince you otherwise for their own profit, their own gain, their own power, all coming from fear. It's not coming from love. You'll know when you're in your spirit and you understand who you really are, you can hear falsehood so much more clearly. And that is your job now, to reconnect to who you are. I'm going to do a meditation on this. I'm going to put it on the channel, do this separately, so that you can work on that larger connection. And if you're interested also in any other meditation, if you're interested in me doing the meditation, that I can do a guided meditation on sort of reconnecting to that larger part of yourself, or to the multi-million-dollar part of yourself, is the actual exercise that I was doing, that I designed for myself in order to sort of switch the timeline that I'm in right now. I can do that as a meditation as well. I might just put that out there. I don't need anybody's permission to do that. And honestly, I did that money meditation, the one that's on the channel right now. I did that for myself, and I wanted it to be easy for me to get to. So I put it up on this channel so that I could easily get to it, so that I can do that again and again and again. So listen to that as many times. And if it has been helpful to you, leave a comment here or over there and let me know that it's been helpful to you. and how, so that it'll guide me in order to make other things for you. So anyway, I hope this little podcasty video, I'm going to put this on YouTube, as well as I've got a Substack. I was going to do this just as a Substack podcast. If any of this resonates with you, I'd love to hear from you, and I'm here to be of service. Thanks for listening.